I film my process here. Something that I like to do at the very end of a day is just use the colors that I have on my palette and just sketch away without any pressure, just keeping it really loose and learning from the process. I'm getting ready to film my self-paced course on mastering abstract composition. That's coming up next week. And so I'm preparing a bunch of exercises and was doing these very deliberate sketches with a very specific color palette, and was a lot, more careful with what I was doing with that palette and the previous things. But at the end of the day, I'm just letting it rip. And I am working on an acrylic card. It's a Strathmore card. I think it's a 10 by 10. I'm using Indian ink that I applied with a stick. I've got a water-soluble graphite little pencil there that's fantastic to work with. And I'm working with cobalt blue, turquoise phthalo, cad yellow light, cad yellow orange, pyrrole red, primary magenta, which is just a wonderful palette, and some white. And I'm just learning as I'm going, which is why I love to do this, is I'll pick something up and there's really, there's no pressure at all. And what I picked up here is that applying my lines with my Indian ink and my stick was fun. That's really fun. But also if I'm mixing in my acrylic paints directly, immediately, without waiting for anything to dry, I'm getting these very moody, kind of strange colors that I wouldn't usually work with otherwise. And I'm working totally instinctively. I'm not even bothering to wash my brush. In some of these cases, I'm grabbing a sponge. I'm just pulling things in as I go. I've also got some white on that palette so that I can desaturate some of these colors, and I'm mixing them really essentially just directly on my little card here. I've got sandpaper, and I kind of learned from this, and I've done this before, that sandpaper right on top of this wet paint creates interesting lines, interesting movement, a way to create movement and mood and rhythm. And I'm really working with shapes, columns, colors, seeing how they react. Some of them are clashing. It doesn't really matter to me at this point. It's just almost how much paint can I get on here? How big of a mess can I make before the thing starts to come into harmony or come into balance? Because I know inevitably it will. I have that much experience painting to know that when there's chaos, if I keep going, eventually something's going to happen. And I love that mystery, and I want you to encourage you to trust that and to play with it. Throwing lines at it. I'm not stepping back to look at it. I'm just reacting. Now I'm adding some super saturated color. And if I want that color to be a little bit purer, I have to use a different tool. So I've got my palette knife, that thing in the middle. Here comes the mess. Get ready. Here's the super duper chaos moment where I'm scratching away, scratching, scraping. It's starting to look dreadful. And I just keep going. And here it is. Here it is. It's coming into balance. Something's starting to happen. Because predominantly it's becoming a red painting. So the majority of it is red. And that's what's creating a sense of balance. There's this red and these underpainting, adding just a touch of color. I'm going to throw a few more lines at it with my stick. Stick and Indian ink is just so much fun. And I really like the moodiness that I got from doing this. It's not my sort of normal color palette, working so dark like this, and then I'm going to make a choice to get rid of that bright yellow. I don't know if that was a good choice or a bad choice, but that's the choice I made, and it becomes green, so it works.